MLB team, every MLB team and every NFL team, because we've been having so many different guests from all the different professional leagues. Probably would be awesome if I had my Red Sox hat on to support, even though I'm a true Cubby.
That's dedication.
I love it. Well, I'm very looking forward to our guest, so let's jump in.
Absolutely. We already know he's a Red Sox fan, but we are going to play this video and then we'll bring him on. So just bear with us. This will be about another minute. Here we go. Being exceptional has to begin with a spark. For him, it began on the fields of Santa Rosa. He stacked one rep on top of another long before anyone was watching. In high school, he stood taller, threw harder, chased a dream bigger than the diamond beneath his feet. At junior college, he sharpened his edge, and in 2022, the Boston Red Sox called his name. Not because he was the headline, but because he had that special spark. But the road hit back. Shoulder setbacks, missed innings, doubt knocking louder than applause. But he didn't break. He built. Early mornings, late nights, refining mechanics, strengthening his frame, rewiring his body and mind to go further than before. NerveOTX became a part of that process, helping him recover faster, move better, train harder. But the drive, that was all him. Now, he's carving through lineups. Fastball, alive, sweeper, biting, changeup coming on strong, and still building, still chasing that edge most players never find. He's not here because of hype. He's here because of his spark, the unquenchable desire of testing his limits, fully charged and rewired to take his game to the next level. Everyone, please give a warm welcome for Austin Ehrlicher.
Wow. Nice intro.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there, Austin? How did Jake do on your intro?
That was solid. That was more than I expected, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and you're a Red Sox fan, but I had to put that aside because you are a great talent. So it's always fun to do.
Well, welcome. Appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. We always like to just jump in and tell us a little about yourself or your reactions to that video of how you got to the league.
Yeah, I think my story is definitely different than most people. I was always a basketball guy growing up. Played basketball and baseball, but my main sport was definitely basketball through high school. COVID hit and I actually quit baseball for about 9 months just to stick with basketball. And then senior year came around and we were playing both basketball and baseball at the same time and decided to kind of play both and see how it'd be, but was bouncing back between practice to practice and game to game, and then ended up having a really good year baseball wise and decided to do the same thing at junior college, playing basketball and baseball. Came out to baseball season late in the JC. It was like middle of the year. Started like 87, 89, and then it just kind of kept progressing every week. Had some scouts come to watch, and after that, it just all happened pretty fast. Ended up getting drafted with the Red Sox. Did the draft and follow, so I actually went back to JUCO for a year, and then signed the next year. So the process was definitely different from a lot of people, but yeah, glad it happened that way.
But it sounds like you're like definitely a gym rat if you love the hoops and the baseball, and you were just you're all around athlete. That's awesome. And so during that journey, what do you think that was? Was it just your joy for sport, your joy for baseball, basketball, kind of conditioning, working out, and then obviously that led to some maturity and as you've grown and aged to be able to throw faster, or what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think it's all of it. As a kid, I just loved playing the game. So I think playing both as long as possible was something that I really wanted to do. And I think playing both sports, I was always on the go doing something. So when I kind of transitioned to one sport and was able to put all my effort into that one thing, that's kind of when it took off. So. Yeah.
And are you, correct me, I'm not sure on your background. Are you a pitcher? What positions do you play? Do you play multiple positions, or what's your role?
Yeah, pitcher with the Red Sox, and I hit a little bit in JUCO.
Okay, very nice. And is that what you played in high school, or were you kind of all around position player along with pitching back in high school and junior college?
Yeah, hitting high school, played outfield in junior college and high school, so it was kind of all around there.
Yeah, well, good. It's amazing. We've interviewed so many young guys, and I don't think Jake, correct me, I don't think we've had a story that didn't involve COVID in some sort of, I don't know, COVID affected a lot of you guys, and it's sad because, it's such a crazy time, and I can't even imagine as a young athlete just trying to live your high school or collegiate or whatever, being thrown in that mix. And we've seen it. How about it, Jake? NFL guys, I mean, it's amazing the adversity that is necessary, or that ability to kind of overcome through that uncontrolled COVID world we hear it on every story almost. So tell us
that almost gives me the chills. You said that, Matt, because, COVID, that you almost have to go internalize everything. And I think that's where a lot of them learned how to fix themselves. And our technology became a pretty important piece back then, because they didn't have the therapy where they could just go right into the locker room and be fixed. So COVID was strange back then.
Very strange, especially as a two-sport athlete just trying to get through high school and enjoy those days. I can't even imagine. So, well, I mean, you persevered. So, and now you're in the league, you're in the, chasing your dream. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what your normal day looks like. What are you, how often are you throwing? How often are you recovering? How often are your workout? What is your mindset? Share with our audience a little bit.
Yeah. In season, I think it gets pretty monotonous, and you just kind of find ways to switch it up. But for the most part, you're throwing 6 days a week. As a starter, we were going every 6 or 7 days, I think. So it was basically throwing every day, except for we had off day Monday. Early, you get to the field early, do your prep, throw, lift, recover. You have a lot of time to do those things. There's honestly a lot more downtime than people probably think. So you really have to dial in your routine and get your stuff done every day, just to make sure there's things that you don't get distracted by, just because there's so much time you have off at the field. But I think really just having a good prep routine, just having things that I can do personally that I don't really have to think about. It's just every day. That's just what I do, and days add on, and it gets, your routine gets more in sync, and after a while, it just becomes second nature, and that's when I think people's health and performance kind of shoot up, just because they've been doing, what they know they need to do for so long. So really, just getting a good routine was my biggest focus.
Yeah, love it, and obviously the grind. I mean, it's amazing. It's almost like it's a pyramid, right? You get all these kids in, and it's really survival, right? Who can keep their bodies right? Who can keep their head straight? And especially as a pitcher, because what you guys are doing to your body is incredible. We've interviewed so many pitchers at all levels, and you're trying to throw as hard, and you're doing some things, creatively with every portion of your arm, shoulders, hands, wrists. So, tell us a little bit about that journey of just trying to keep as solid performer, but still making sure that you're pushing that envelope to get the best out of your body.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that helped me learn how to take care of my body was, being injured for a year and a half. Unfortunately, that's sometimes what it takes to get to that point. So I think every athlete is definitely different, but you just have to know your body. It's really just a big trial and error game. Especially for me, it took a while, but you kind of start to figure out what feels good, what makes you throw hard, what doesn't make you feel good, and you just put it together, and over time you just get a solid routine that works for you. And again, I don't think it's the same for every athlete. And for me, it wasn't even the same a year ago as it is today. So it's just constant trial and error, doing different things, and eventually you find what works. So.
Yeah, I think, Jake, I'd love to. I mean, it's what we're hearing, and you're not alone. It's really an athlete. It's amazing how much you need to kind of take control of your own, performance, injury, recovery. I mean, it's you got to self-advocate for yourself and figure this out. Jake, isn't that kind of a common theme that we're starting to hear from all the athletes that we support?
Yeah, and I think you brought this up on the last Q&A where it's that very thing, is that sometimes they're going through an injury and they want to kind of keep it on the low end because it's so competitive. The moment, somebody that's waiting for your spot smells blood, they're ready to come in and take their spot. So this has been almost like a spot position protector in many ways, but they have to do it on their own in a lot of cases.
Yeah, we see it. I think in baseball, you guys have it rough. I mean, for sure. But these NFL guys, holy cow, it's car crash after car crash, and what you guys are trying to do. So was it that injury that led you to discover direct current? Tell us how did you even come across direct current for the first time?
Again, I think it was like me literally trying everything. I think the first time, I think I saw it a while ago. Never really looked into it. But I did. I don't know if you guys know what MAT therapy or treatment is. But it's basically like just stimulating certain muscles, and then doing like an isometric and then kind of stimulating them again. And the guy that I worked with used, it wasn't a TENS unit, but it was something to stimulate muscles. It wasn't the same as the neuro, but I think that was my first time looking at the body different, I guess. And just understanding that activating the muscles is the most important part. I had a lot of imbalances, so I think with that and the ARF neuro, it kind of made me realize what was important, and it wasn't necessarily lifting the most weight, or being the most explosive. It was just kind of being balanced in your body, and having everything activated. Because I mean, if you go out on the field and you're not properly activated, things are wrong, and over time you're just going to break down. So I think that was the first time I kind of discovered that way of thinking, and then it led me eventually down to finding you guys. So
yeah, that's great. I think, Jake, that is the key. I mean, there are so many. I mean, if you had to guess, Jake, how many muscles are incorporated in trying to throw a 95, 90, 97 mile an hour fastball? I mean, it's everything, right? From, the big toe all the way up. So share with our listeners your opinion on, how that compensation could drastically affect a throw.
Absolutely. Anytime you're involved in a rotational sport, in case with Austin, where you're a pitcher, it's just like a quarterback. Everything starts at the base, and basically the release is the whip. That's the end point. So, if something's off, even in the calves or the Achilles or the quads, that breakdown can change the pitch. It can change the compensation. The more you start to work around a pain point, that compensation opens up even more, and it creates more compensatory patterns. And it just becomes a domino effect of breakdowns, kind of like what you were saying, Austin, is that, you were dealing with a lot of that. And I think once you start to incorporate a technology like direct current, where you can fire up areas that, kind of been dormant for a while, you start to realize, wow, my velo is going up. I'm starting to pitch better. My form is better. You're not as fatigued. But it's amazing how well your body can perform when it's fully balanced. You're not going to always know that, though, unless you have a device that's able to diagnose certain areas and find certain breakdowns, and at the same point be able to fire up areas at a cellular level and strengthen them. And that's what you've been doing. And for a rotational sport, I don't think there's a technology. It's almost reckless not to have. It's almost like going 120 miles an hour in a sports car, not wearing your seatbelt.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like, Austin, you've discovered this. You've become so much more knowledgeable on, just your body in general. Share with us a little insight on some of those aha moments when you actually got the device and started working with it, from a recovery and performance.
I think the biggest thing for me was, before I was having trouble like feeling certain movements. Like you tell me to do this certain shoulder exercise or arm care routine. It's like I'm having trouble feeling those exact muscles. So when I used it and did kind of the basic shoulder and elbow routines, obviously that helps with recovery and feeling it. But then it led to me when I wasn't using the device, or it was like I'm at the field, I have to warm up. I could feel those muscles, and I didn't need that current to feel it. So kind of going back and forth from stuff I'm doing at the field, using the device to warm up, using it at home, it just translates to everything else. So now your brain is actually able to feel, allow you to feel those muscles, and you don't need it all the time, and it just kind of snowballs into you feeling normal again. So I think that was the coolest thing for me, was to kind of be able to feel stuff without the unit all the time.
Yeah, that's great. I think it sounds like you fired up and woke up some things. How tell our listeners from your perspective, how challenging was it to learn pad placement, protocols, any of that? Share some insights on that.
It definitely seemed like a lot at first, but when I kind of went through it, as you learn it, it gets easier. But I think for me, I like to stick to the basic stuff, and it's pretty easy once you get it down. Because a lot of them are pretty close to each other, and you learn pretty fast. So I didn't think it was too difficult. And again, I like to stick to the simple stuff. So I was trying the basic routines, and I think for me, adding a bunch of stuff early on, it's hard for me to figure out what works and what doesn't. Okay. So I really stuck to the shoulder routine, upper routine, and slowly added things in and figured out what really felt good, what didn't. So again, I think it's easy to learn, and then you kind of have to figure out what works for you and what's kind of the best movement for you.
Yeah. Have you seen some improvement on performance, velocity, some of your pitches, because of just that into it?
Yeah, I didn't, it's kind of the end of the season, so I didn't have a crazy velo jump or anything. It stayed the same, but I was able to last a little bit longer. And I just feel like I didn't need as much to warm up. It just helped me get ready quicker. I mean, a lot of guys have hour-plus warm-up routines. So, I mean, I think if you take this into the gym or the field, it takes 20, 25 minutes, and then you're ready to go, whether you use the device for 15 or 20 and then do your kind of own stuff. I think just being able to get activated a lot faster and probably being able to go a little bit longer in the game was the biggest thing I noticed. And then obviously recovery. I think that was probably the biggest one, just waking up not as sore. High intent effort throws, like the next day I feel fine. So I think for anyone that's using it in the beginning of the season, they're going to see a lot of those benefits, a month or two after they use it, and just continue to work with it. I think it's like the same thing as working out. You just keep adding on, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're up in velocity, you feel great. So that was kind of my experience. And then now with the off season, don't really have to throw as much. So I'm kind of trying to add some different things and see what I can do. And when I start throwing in a few weeks, I'm sure I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so I think this activation is becoming, I'm hearing that more and more from athletes all over, whether it's, pickleballers to, pro athletes like yourself. And I think when you just break it down, Jake, I'd love to get your input, because we've had so many people on these Q&As, from power lifters to you name it. When you just look at it from a common sense perspective, it makes so much sense, because if you're throwing and you're working in an intense hour to warm up and to get so you're ready to go that first pitch, that's a lot of work and wear and tear that is unnecessary. I'd rather wait, have that activation with less intensity so that you're ready to go. And it probably helps overall. What are your thoughts on that, Jake?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And that's where the muscle activation has become so popular. And to be honest, it was pitchers that have made it popular because of that reason. The warm-ups were essentially cutting a fraction of what they had to go through. Kind of like what you said, Austin, to get through that stretch and that range of motion and that pitching feeling, to make sure your muscles are firing. To do that physically without this device it's going to take a long time. This current's able to penetrate cellular level immediately. So you're warming up muscles the moment you put it on and you turn it up. And it doesn't even have to be very high. And if you're going through movements, it doesn't have to be a full pitch. You just have to kind of replicate it or even move it around. And within 5 or 10 minutes, you're already seeing that range of motion happen. You know, when I was a strength coach, I wish I had a record of how many times the athletes that I trained got injured during a warm up, or it was during a recovery that they decided to stretch for some reason to recover. I don't know why, but it was those warm up and recoveries where there was a lot of problems, and specifically the warm ups, you know, because they push too hard, too fast. And with this one, you don't have to worry about it because it ramps you up very quickly without putting a lot of stress on that muscle.
Yeah, makes sense. That's awesome. I got to ask, because we're starting to get more and more people that are, you know, direct current used to be like, what is that? Now everybody's starting to hear about it. There's guys like you, you know, that are carrying your device. And are you still getting a lot of guys in the locker room saying, hey, what is that? How, you know, what device are you using? You know, why are you recovering so much better? Are you getting a lot of that, or is it starting to become more mainstream that guys are starting to understand it?
There was a few guys that heard of it. But yeah, for the most part, there was definitely questions. But yeah, I think once guys see people use something like that and see that they're feeling good, it doesn't really matter what it is. They're asking about it and seeing how they can use it and get better. So yeah, there were definitely questions, and people were definitely interested, but I'd hope they'd be as an athlete trying to recover faster. So it's kind of expected.
Yeah, we had a great Q&A with a middle reliever, and learning the insights of that stress of waiting for the phone to ring and needing to get in and activate quickly. I'd be surprised. And we have obviously our technology in just about every MLB locker room trainer. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot of those in the bullpens, just because if you're a middle reliever or a reliever, you know, you don't have a whole lot of time. That whole hour of that a starter gets maybe cut down to 15 minutes. So what better way to get that activation with direct current, so you're ready to go? Because that's probably, as a middle reliever, where you could probably get into some issues, because you're going from sitting watching a game to trying to throw, you know, at a velocity to make sure you get out of whatever jam it is. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that as well. So
yeah.
Well, good. Where are you calling us from? Are you back home in California?
Yep. Back home, Santa Rosa, California.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of great athletes coming out of there, so that's
yeah, there is.
Must be something in the water. What do you think, Jake?
Something in the water, the weather, a whole host of things going well for California when it comes to athletes.
Yeah. So what does your off season look like? Do you have a performance facility that you go to? You know, as everyone kind of does their own thing and comes back. Tell our listeners that are living vicariously through your, you know, journey. What does that look like?
Yeah. I'll be here and in San Diego for the most part. I usually go back to my junior college. They've got basically everything I need there. Mm-hmm. Got a gym that I use there, so I don't go to a big facility with a bunch of other players, which could be nice, but I got everything I need at my JUCO, and we got a lot of pro and college guys that come back over the winter, so I'll be working out with them and doing stuff with them. So that's kind of my routine. Starting to work out right now. Throwing starts up in like 2.5 weeks, I think. So yeah, once I pick up a ball again, it happens fast, and next thing you know, I'm in spring training. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on.
Yeah, that reminds me of, as a kid, going from football, baseball, basketball.
Yeah.
The greatest part from going from basketball to baseball was, wow, did that ball feel small as you're trying to throw for the first few weeks. Then it becomes heavy. But yeah, well, Austin, we can't appreciate you enough taking time out of your day. Loving that we're able to support your journey. Loving, you know, your insight to, you know, recovery, to, you know, performance, as well as activation. I think that's some pretty good insight. Jake, anything that we'd like to ask Austin before we
One last thing, and I just kind of rewind back to when you were playing basketball as well, because I saw a few videos and you seem to be very talented at that sport too. So what was the process that led you to kind of leave that behind and focus toward baseball? Obviously, it was the right decision. You're on the Red Sox for a reason. But what took place that you realized baseball needed to take your full attention?
Yeah, it was kind of tough. Really weird, to be honest. Like, even I know the first time I called my coach and was like, "Yeah, like probably not going to play next year." It was really weird because I'd really been a basketball guy first for basically my whole life until the last, freshman year of college, probably. And but I think it was just the end of the year I started to realize scouts are getting on me, and I really love the game, and playing pro baseball is something that I wanted to do. So ended up calling my coach, telling him I probably wasn't going to play next year, and then ended up getting drafted a month later or so. So it worked out.
Yeah, it was the right decision.
Yeah. I think any parent that's watching this, or any kid, that aspires to be like you, Austin, it's a challenge. And it's the fine line between, going all in at 12 versus, and you hear it so much, play so many different sports, work. And I think it's a muscle activation, right? I mean, you're not, you're forming as you mature, and you're playing different sports, you're activating and you're strengthening so many different muscles that will become beneficial to you in whatever you ultimately end up doing. I'm jealous because I wish I had the athleticism that Austin has to be able to say, I don't know, maybe I'm such a stud, I could play this or that. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, that's a blessing. And it sounds like you're taking advantage of that blessing, and you're, working towards that dream. And we wish you all the best. Really do. And we're glad that we're able to support you through that journey.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Excellent. Well, you have a great off season, and we'll look forward to seeing you next year.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Austin,
it.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Jake, what a great Q&A.
Yeah.
Great insight.
Yet again, another awesome athlete. And boy, I hope the Yanks smarten up and pull him back in. The Yankees can use some pitching.
Yeah, you gotta love it. I tell you, just to see, and I think what you see is, it's amazing how many guys we've had on our Q&A, and an athlete's an athlete is an athlete, right? And it's difficult because it's that commitment level to what they need to do to hone their craft. But I think the message I'm starting to hear is cross train.
Yeah,
play multiple sports.
100%. Yeah.
Still stay active in whatever your ultimate dream is, but it never hurts to play other sports, activate other muscles so that you can not form some of those compensations. I think that's probably the takeaway that I got out of this Q&A. What are your thoughts?
100%. I think multi-dimensional training is the best way to go, whether it's multiple sports or multiple activities. You get caught up in one thing, it starts to take over. I can relate from that through wrestling. Because when you just focus on one thing, there's other things you're not focusing on. And, that's how injury can happen. So yeah, multi-dimensional strength training. I've always leaned on that. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think the only, the one advantage I had growing up is I was average at about everything.
So I don't think that's true.
I got to go from all these different sports, and even today, I tend to try to mentally go into play and do as much activity with different things so that I don't cause any compensations, or I don't get injured, because you're trying to work as much as you can, especially as an old dinosaur like myself, Jake. You'll understand it once.
Come on, your example of that is your ability to be a triathlete the way you are, and to still be able to compete in that. But it's not just that. You play tennis, you play pickleball, you play golf, and you're good at all of them. I'm not sure about the golf. I heard you were, but I know you're good at pickleball. I've seen it, and so I think people envy where you're at your age, and you act like you're old. You're not. Not in my eyes.
You know what? It's funny, like Austin, I mean, even as we age or whatever it is, even in our journeys, it's like finding that secret sauce, if you will, the direct current, foot fast, the recovery, the blood flows. I can't tell you how many times our technology has saved me from after a long tournament, a pickleball tournament, or a tweak here and there. It's been a godsend. So it's great to hear from folks like Austin who are in the league, as you say. So, well, Jay, 100%. Looking forward to more. This is good. Great setup.
Yeah, we're loving it. Love to see the colors on you. And this is another good one. I guess today, this wraps up our Q&A. So everyone, thanks for joining in. And thanks for being a part of this.
We forgot one thing.
What did we forget?
We forgot to keep Sarah active by how can they get a hold of Austin? How can you follow Austin's career? What's a good way to, there it is. Okay.
She was just waiting for our question and we dropped the ball.
We dropped the ball. Well, that's, and that's the first. It's not going to be the last.
Well, you're 100%.
More importantly, now that everybody's already turned off the podcast.
Yeah.
Now, they're it's only those 2 or 3 that held out to the end. So those 2 or 3, we thank you.
Well, I'm hoping some of them are in their car and they can't really cut it off yet, even though they're tired of hearing our voices. Good point. Who knows? Maybe they'll come back and check him out on his Instagram.
Well, let's hope we got to put a smile on their face anyway. So
100%. Thank you for joining, everybody. Thanks for being a part of this growing company of doctors, athletes, and other professionals. And we're pushing the boundaries of human performance with this technology. So if you like to learn more about it, training, or how to get involved, visit us at arpneuro.com. That's eventually going to be nerveotics.com, NerveOTX.com. That's coming soon. And until next time, Matt, what are your closing thoughts?
Have a wonderful day.
I love that.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.